What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolve video. So we're finally here with our last reveals for set 4, and it's the neutral class. So the video shouldn't be too long, it's just a couple of supporting cards that can help any deck or can just go in any deck. So let's figure out what came out in set 4. Alright, so the first card we have is Owlcat, Soothing Harp. She's a 5-cost 4/5. And when she comes into play, you choose one of your followers who is engaged and give it +2/+2 and unengage them. This turn, that follower is unable to attack. The first interesting combination I can think of is those followers that have that engage ability that, hey, you engage this follower and it does this ability. And if it doesn't have the restriction of do this only once per turn or this only activates once per turn, you can use this and then unengage it and then you can do that ability again. Well, how practical that might be, it might truly be impossible, but there might be a chance that it does work out. Alright, and we have Goblin Princess. She's a 3-cost 2/1. You can evolve her for 1, but when she comes into play, you can search for a 1 play point neutral follower from your deck and put it onto the field. Alright, so far we can only get 3 targets with this ability. We can get Actresperia, Bellringer Angel, and Goblin. So those are 3 interesting targets you can get just by playing this card, and they're all pretty useful. So they go in different decks, but if you ever run a deck where you're like, hey, I just need this 1 drop, that being probably Actresperia in your Fable deck, you can play this, go ahead and get her out, and then you can put a Fable counter on whatever card you want. And then we have the Goblin Princess Evolve. So on Evolve, you put a Goblin King into your EX area. So let's figure out what a Goblin King does. So here is the Goblin King. So he's a 4-cost token, he's a 6/6, he has Ward, and when he comes into play, you give all of your other Goblin followers +1/+1. So look at that, we have some Goblin support, and the fact that the 1-drop Goblin does evolve into a bigger Goblin, so he becomes a bigger Goblin with that. And the Goblin line really does come together if you just rock those Goblin Princesses. You can go ahead and get those Goblins out on the field and then evolve her, and then you have the Goblin King, and then you play that. And your Goblins are going to swing for a whole bunch when he comes into play. Moving forward, we have Grimnir War Cyclone. He's a 3-cost 3/4. You can evolve him for 2, and then he has Ward. Not bad at 3-cost Ward, not better than Rapunzel, but let's see what his evolve does. So we have the War Cyclone evolve. So he has Ward, but you can evolve him for 4 play points. You can deal 4 damage to all enemy leaders and all enemy followers on the field. That's not bad to spend 4 to just go ahead and do a little bit of a board wipe to deal 4 damage, and it's attached to a follower, so that's not bad either. Alright, and we have the Premier Legendary. We have Israfil. She's an 8-cost 8/8. You can evolve her for 1, but she has a strike ability, so when she swings, she deals 3 damage to all enemy followers, and then when she comes into play, you add 4 to your leader's health. Truly a boss monster of a card. She's an 8-cost 8/8, and then when she comes in the field, she's going to be healing you, and then whenever she swings, she's going to be swinging at you for 8, and then she's going to be dealing 3 to the board, so it's kind of like a huge Oguri cap there. Looking at the Israfil evolve, so on strike, she deals 5 damage to all enemy followers. She truly did upgrade. She was an 8/8 that would swing and deal 3 to the board. Now she's a 10/10, and she's going to be dealing 5 to all the enemy followers, so it's a pretty nice board wipe. Next up, we have Mr. Full Moon. He's a 5-cost 3/3. When he comes into play and when he dies, you choose all enemy followers and give them -3/-3. Not bad of a board wipe. It does them when he comes in and when he leaves, as long as he's not banished. So if you're definitely on the back end and you have a whole bunch of stuff on the field and aggro is just beating you out, you can play this, go ahead and neg those stats, go ahead and get rid of the other things, and then swing into something to probably kill him, and then do it again. Alright, next up we have Mystic Ring. It's a 1-cost quick spell. You put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck and then you draw a card. Alright, so for the control-based decks that have those big boss monsters, they definitely don't want to see them in their early turns. So we finally have a spell card that can go ahead and put them towards the bottom of the deck, in case I definitely do go for a shuffle or something like in Statute Seraph. That's something that would be perfectly good for this card too, because you don't want to go into those big boss monsters early in your early turns. You're sitting with the 8-cost in your hand on turn 4, and we're like, alright, so what am I going to do with this? Well, I have Mystic Ring now, and I can definitely put them towards the bottom of my deck. Next up, we have Knight's Way. So it's a 3-cost amulet. You can activate to engage this card. If there are no cards in your EX area, you put the top card of your deck in your EX area. I think this card would be pretty cute in Havencraft, you know, the Egg Haven. You're definitely playing things out of your EX area, and then you could potentially hit a pretty good Fable. But, you know, you already have all your other stuff, you know, that being Alice and all those other amulets that do it for you. But this would also be a cute way to do it. Alright, and we have Owlcat. So it's a 2-cost 2/2, and you can evolve him for 1. So let's figure out what that Evo does. Alright, and we have the Owlcat evolve. So on evolve, you choose an enemy follower with 1 or less attack. or with 1 or less defense and banish it. Alright, so we finally have an answer for Bellringer, so this is the perfect card to deal with it. Bellringer has 0 attack, so she has 1 or less, and she can be banished, and she doesn't get the last words effect, so your opponent doesn't draw a card. So this is the perfect card to answer with that. Alright, next up we have Purehearted Singer, so it's a 3-cost 1/2. When it comes to play and when it dies, you draw a card. The only deck I can see this really good in is Spellchain, but I feel like this card would be really good if you're playing it with the set 4 only format. I feel like, you know, just playing it, drawing a card, giving a card on the field is pretty nice. Alright, and we have Staircase to Paradise, so it's a 1-cost amulet. When your followers move from the field to the graveyard, put a soul counter on this card. You can activate to engage this card and put it into the graveyard. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You must reveal up to 2 followers from them and add them to your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. You can only use this effect if this card has 6 or more soul counters on it. So truly a wall of text, but if you're putting a whole bunch of cards and getting rid of a whole bunch of cards from your deck, like this would probably be good in Abysscraft aggro. You're using a whole bunch of cards swinging into them, but they're definitely going to leave the field because they're not going to sit there and keep taking 3 damage, 2 damage. They're definitely going to get rid of their followers. So they die and you put counters on this card, and then you can engage it at any time on your turn. Go ahead and look at the top 5 cards, get whatever follower you want, add them to your hand, and then proceed with your turn, which is absolutely cool. Alright, lastly, we have Zodiac Demon, so he's a 6-cost 6/6. You can activate to engage this card and discard a follower from your hand. You can choose an enemy follower and deal damage equal to the discarded follower's cost, and then you deal damage to its leader equal to half the discarded follower's cost, rounded up. So personally, I feel like this card would be perfect in like the Fallen Angels deck. You go ahead and discard one of your angels, whatever the cost is. You're going to deal it to a follower, and then you're going to deal half their cost to the leader. So let's say I get rid of Olivia. I'm dealing 5 damage to something on the field, and then I'm dealing 3 damage to the leader, which is pretty fair. And you get a 6/6 on the field as well. Well, alrighty everybody, that was the last card. Thank you so much for watching, and we are finally finished with all the reveals. In the meantime, go ahead and look at the other videos if you haven't checked them out. We're going to be looking at more Glory Finder stuff towards the end of this week. I'm ready to talk about that stuff with you guys, and when the dates are coming out for this new format, I'm ready because this format for Commander is going to be pretty tight and the cards look cool, and I'm ready to play them with you guys. Well, alright guys, make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.